Hello, everyone. You're listening to Northern Flights, a Park Pro podcast keeping you up to date with the people, tournaments, and culture of disc golf in Canada and beyond. Consider becoming a Patreon today at patreon.com/parkpro. Find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by Disc Golf Park. And now your hosts, Andre, Jesse, and Matt.
In case you guys didn't know, Max is back on the show.
The old crew is back.
Yeah, let's go.
I mean, have you been back since?
Not since Christmas.
Oh.
Missed our Christmas episode as well.
Yeah, I was back for one. Was that in December? Like the firehouse?
That was the last one in December, and we haven't recorded since then. Just hasn't worked out. But it did work out now. We're all together, back again. It's the new year. Happy New Year.
Merry New Year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back on the
Getting
casting
comfy.
couch.
Yeah.
Yikes.
This was
Cast like the Swedish word for throwing. Cast
Yes.
What were you
Yeah.
guys
Cast the
thinking?
That's
couch.
the plus time.
Yeah.
Couch.
Of course, I'm Andre, Max, Jesse, and Matt.
Yo.
This is the Northern Flights podcast, episode 32, I believe. We got a pretty awesome show. We got some Canadian nationals to talk about. They released the location shortly after we recorded our last podcast. We have some Park Pro updates, and that includes the fact that Nationals is coming soon. So the coverage from Nationals last year, and it's a doozy. So, and then of course we got some sponsorship updates and discussion to go through, and then I think we're gonna do a little Pro Tour predictions if we have time. So, but first, how's it going, Max? How's your off season been since you came back from tour?
It's been great. Taking it real easy. Just
Nice.
relaxing. Getting some skiing in. Went into the indoor golf simulator at Fairmont.
Oh yeah,
Hitting the new driver that I got from for Christmas. So that was nice. Got the garage putting setup going. It's like
nice.
only like 6 meters, but practice those tap ins.
Yeah, reps are reps, right?
Hey, you miss a couple of those every so often. So, but yeah, it's been good. Looking forward to get back on tour though. It's getting cold here.
Yeah, this weekend is supposed to be real cold. I was gonna say you guys have plans to play any disc golf soon, but I think mostly everyone in Canada is pretty going to be pretty shut down this weekend. So, but who knows? If you're planning on playing playing disc golf in -20, -30,
Good luck.
let us know in the comments. Tell us how hard you are, and yeah.
What?
How about you, Jesse? How
Oh,
did you?
thanks. I played last weekend, actually. Man, Cranbrook was perfect. They had no snow. Tee pads were bone dry. Got a lap in at the college and saw like a lot of the usual suspects from the summer. It was like a little disc golf reunion, the hey hellos. I played great after not picking up a disc in September. Caitlin shot her PB, also not picking up a disc in September. It was kind of nice to go have like a no expectations round and just shoot the crap and have some fun.
College is a nice course to do that as well.
Yeah, it's not. I was real concerned about potential for bad conditions at Wycliffe, and yeah, it was nice, very nice. Other than that, quiet Christmas with the fam. Had some of the boys back from everywhere, so had some shenanigans going on. I'm pretty sure since we spoke last, Max sandbagged some bowling.
I don't know how I pulled that off, honestly.
You shoot like a 290 or something.
Well, coming from shooting like a 120, like absolutely bowled the worst bowling possible in the firsts. That didn't count for money. Then we're like, yeah, let's put $20 on it. Then I just got like 8 strikes in a row.
Ah, you bull sharked them.
I just, yeah, full on shark. But
Dirty guy.
after taking some monies from a couple of those guys playing golf as well. Thought I could complete the Triple Crown, but was not as good of a poker player as I had hoped. So,
Oh yeah, Godwin the shark.
yeah. But some good game nights.
Yeah. I mean, that's what the holiday season's all about, right?
I've got questions. I've got lots of questions. First of all, Max, your new driver, is it pretty overstable, would you say?
Ooh.
Is it like a more of a forehand
Very
driver or a
unstable.
backhand driver?
I was slicing it a bit at the driving range, so I would say it had a lot of turn.
Is it a big Bertha or like a kind of a medium-sized Bertha?
It's a pretty big boy. TaylorMade Stealth 2.
Whew.
Big boy.
Extra stiff shaft.
Not the extra stiff. Still reasonably stiff. So I'm not a DeChambeau. But
Well, wait till you get into your 40s. You get a little bit more bend in your shaft because you need the whip when you're older because you're not as strong. And Jesse, why are you wearing? Am I the only one wearing Park Pro gear here? Why are you wearing the sweater from our rival podcast?
Yikes.
Do you really think we're the Smashbox rivals?
No, there are
Maybe
rivals.
You know what?
Yeah, we're not their rivals. They're ours.
It's funny enough, I really like supporting people's disc golf projects no matter what. I was a gold tier patron of Smashbox for a year, and I didn't watch a single podcast or listen to a single podcast. And I got this hoodie shipped to me as part of my gold tier rewards, and it promptly reminded me to unsubscribe, and then I'd spend $150 to never see anything.
Is that Terry's or
Yeah, that's
was that
Terry and
Terry's?
JV.
Okay.
Look,
Yeah, I got some DGA Smashbox discs as well, signed by Johnny himself.
Wow.
Nice.
Worth significantly less with his signature on them now, but yeah,
yeah,
Disc
you got
golf
you can't sell them as signed discs. You have to sell them as inked.
as inked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I consider them our rival podcast. They talked to Thomas Gilbert for a solid hour and never discussed the Canadian Disc Golf Tour, never discussed Park Pro coverage. And it's not like they don't know about it. Terry Miller knows about our coverage, and I think he is scared. I think he's intimidated.
Terry does
He
kind
just-
of look like he's a guy that could be scared a lot, actually.
Doesn't want that smoke.
He doesn't want that Park Pro smoke, so I consider them our rivals. And good
Yeah,
friends.
I mean-
And if you ever want to have us on the program, we love you. And Jesse here was a major supporter of your podcast for a whole year. So
I was a patron for like 3 months at one point.
3 months.
3 months for the like $1.50 tier.
Oh, I think I was doing like a tenner per release or something.
Yeah.
Dang. Hot
nice.
dog.
Also, they have 2 people on their podcast. We've got 4. That's twice as many people.
I think that's a cue. All our listeners, go join our Patreon.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Support us. Don't support Smashbox.
Yeah.
If you're supporting Smashbox right now, cancel that. Send the money our way. Trust us, it'll go to good use.
Be like Jesse, a tenner per release.
Yeah.
That's serious. Like, do they do weekly, bi-weekly? Surely they put out a lot of content.
I think it's
$10
weekly
per.
and it's the same thing as way as our way is set up. And I've asked about switching to like just a monthly prescription, but it's per release. You could set a maximum so you only support one release and then you only get charged that per month. But yeah, it's per release. So yes.
I think it's a good model in general because if you don't put content out for a month and something happens, you're not paying for nothing.
Exactly.
But yeah.
And if you throw a comment under one of their YouTube videos that says, hey, how come you guys never talk about Park Pro? Maybe we'll send you a sticker or a towel or something.
Actually, you know what? Maybe we should get all our listeners to go on their live show and just spam their live chat.
Just spam their chat.
That's what we need to do.
Did you guys know that the best disc golf post-produced content is coming out of Canada these days? I can't believe it. You guys should talk about it on the show.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, Terry doesn't want that smoke. Bless him for all the coverage he puts out. But iPhone monopod versus Park Pro drone, triple camera, super intro. Can't touch us.
compete.
Can't touch us.
I'm telling you.
Speaking of coverage, we got some big news. If you're listening to this now, today, which will be Friday, round 1 MPO coverage of Canadian Nationals is coming out. Do we even have a release time?
No.
We usually do it around 3 or 4 o'clock our time, right? So
Yeah.
4, we'll go with 4 o'clock Mountain Time. That's when you keep an eye out. We got MPO coverage coming out, and this tournament's a doozy. It's such a good one. We got Chunk Buckets. I joined Chunk Buckets on the commentary.
Chunk Buckets.
Yeah,
his
Chunky
commentary name?
Buckets. Yeah, you got Chunk.
It's a
Casey's.
lot of chunky buckets.
There you go. Yeah. So Casey and Ben came up and we did commentary on that, and it was a blast. So definitely check that out because all the rounds are just awesome. So,
Tournament of the year.
I think those courses will look good on camera too. Like, I obviously haven't seen the coverage, but playing that event, especially what was it called? Dragon
Hills.
Hills.
It looks
That was
real nice.
And off the top of the head, I can't remember if the golf course was actually looking like lush and green, but just the property was sweet, and I think they did a really good job with that course, and I think it has a lot of potential for bigger equally as big tournaments as Canadian Nationals. But I really enjoyed that event, and even the park course. Like I think it left a little bit to be desired. Like I think they could have done a little bit better with what the land had to offer, but again, now that I say it, like they did use up almost every inch of it, but some of the holes were a little sus.
I felt like there was a few, especially going through coverage, and when you're trying to describe the flights of the drone, you really notice how many of the holes are actually so similar to each other because you're saying the same thing.
Yeah, straight 320 feet, trees on all the sides.
Yeah. And I mean that's fine if they're challenging, but it's like a filler hole. But I mean that's a park course for you, and it is, in my opinion, it's one of the better park courses that I've personally ever played. So.
And it's just like pleasant to play as well. Like we played doubles the day after the event, and it was just a good time to kind of unwind and just play some. I mean, there is some water there, but I don't think it was ever in your head, I'm going to lose this disc.
Yeah,
I think a couple of discs did go in the water. And,
I do remember Casey wading into the lake.
Yeah,
that thing was so far out. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, that coverage is coming out too. What Max is alluding to is that we have coverage of our Park Pro. What do we call it? Pros versus Park Pros versus Pros.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to tease that at all? Or?
Oh yeah, we teased it during the coverage as well. So
I totally forgot about the hot sauce.
Hot sauce challenges.
What are you guys talking about?
You have no idea what happened.
Bros and hot sauce. Wow. That's all I know.
So
Casey getting in the water.
One of the sponsors of the event was Heartbeat Hot Sauce, who I believe a really good hot sauce. Yeah, they sponsor Dustin Poirier's hot sauce.
Yeah.
So if you're an MMA person and you've seen Dustin Poirier's hot sauce, that's who makes it. Is a Canadian company, I think, in Thunder Bay or near Thunder Bay.
In Thunder Bay.
It's in Thunder Bay, yeah.
Yeah, and they make great hot sauces, and they gave out some hot sauces to people, and one of the hot sauces they gave out was like this ludicrously hot ghost pepper sauce.
Ghost pepper Louisiana style hot sauce.
Yeah. And so
insane.
Casey brought some over to the Park Pro condo, and we all had a try, and we were all like, this is stupid hot. And we wanted to play a fun doubles round the next day, and we thought maybe we should put some stakes on it. And, me and Andre...
We wanted to spice things up a little bit?
I wouldn't say that. So I in my mind, we were going to be like, okay, me and Max against Casey and Andre, like, let's make this fair. And then Andre's like, no, me and you, Matt, we can take on these pros, even though collectively they each have 100 rating points on us. So they gave us some strokes, and then we had a side bet on every hole. If both players miss a putt, I think in circle one.
Circle one, yeah.
If both players on the team miss a circle one putt, you take a taste of hot sauce. And whoever loses the hole, I think, also takes a shot of hot sauce.
There was far too much hot sauce consumed for what the stakes were. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, what's funny is Casey gave that bottle to me because he couldn't bring it back with him, and I brought it into work because I was like, I'm not gonna eat it here. So I brought it into work, and like someone from work was like, "Ooh, hot sauce," and just like starts putting it on his meal, and like he was like sweating and crying, and he was just a wreck for the rest of the day. It was unfortunately hilarious. But
So you could probably imagine how a doubles round of two of Canada's top pros versus two of Canada's top cameramen went. But hey,
How many strokes did we give you guys?
he gave us 9.
Yeah.
9 strokes on 18 holes.
Let's just say it came close.
Which is
Yeah,
about right
well,
based on we sort of did the math on the PDGA ratings. 100 points is about, well, 11 or 12 strokes. I think we were actually generous, taking 9 strokes.
Yeah, I think so.
So
Yeah, it's 8 to 11 points, I think, depending on the other metrics. So you're in there.
Depending on what tournament you're playing as
Yeah.
well.
yeah,
Sometimes it's 6. Sometimes it's 14.
Yeah, so once we're done our coverage from the rest of the Canadian Disc Golf Tour, we'll get to that, and we actually have some other off-season content as well. So, so MPO is coming starting tomorrow, we're recording
today.
on Thursday night,
or yesterday if this is Saturday.
yeah. So it's coming out on the Friday, then second round Saturday, third round Sunday, and then we'll have FPO in a week.
Yeah.
So
Right.
commentary is just we just sent it off, and we sent it off a little while ago, and it's coming back now. So
That was
Commentary's
also
done.
yeah, that was a
FPO
spicy round as well.
That was the FPO round of the year for sure, the final round.
Yeah.
I
Who's
can't.
doing your FPO commentary? Is it Gabby Julie or something like that?
Colleen McInnes, and Kat Johnson, and a guy whose name I just forgot. So let's just cut this part out because I don't remember. Justin,
Guy.
I can't change my browser tab or it screws up the recording, Andre. So hopefully you can find
I'm
that.
looking it up. I'm looking it
Yeah,
up
yeah, yeah.
right now.
So you went east with the commentary, which is good. I really like getting Colleen on there. She's such a staple of Ontario disc golf.
Yeah, we really love when somebody was there, and Colleen was most definitely there. So it's going to be great, and they did a great job. And really, if you watch one FPO round this year, watch the finish, watch the final round of nationals.
Wow.
There's highlights in all of them, but
I remember being like in genuine disbelief of what happened, where it was like, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, they said now it's going to take all the power I have not to just type it in on PDGA and see it. So
Yeah.
I'll try and resist.
yeah, if you don't know who won, don't look it up.
Great finish.
And I mean, a bonus on the FPO coverage is that we are trying something new as well. So Colleen's doing our English version of commentary,
Oh,
and then we have Karen Martell. Is going to do a French version.
little French. That's not Italian.
Yeah, Karen is a great ambassador for disc golf in Quebec as well. She's Thought Space, Goat Towel, and a couple other things again.
Yeah.
She's been grinding for a few years.
And she was most definitely there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, stay tuned
She
for that.
made lead card at Discmania Open, Karen, after the first round.
she was winning
Which is
after the first
great.
round.
Yeah, it's a feat
Yeah.
in and of itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have lots of great coverage coming up. So that's the Canadian Nationals, and then we have 2 more events that are in the editing tank right now. And Matt's already started on Falcons Flight, and then we have Geo as a wrap-up event, and that'll be it for the coverage from the Canadian Tour this year. And I guess on to next year.
I'm excited to see Falcons Flight. That's one that I've kind of had on my schedule every year, but it's just never worked out. I can't remember where it is this year, but I'd love to play it, but just pick a good weekend.
It's always the first weekend of September.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Labor
Labor
Day
Day.
weekend.
So it's like August 29th, 30th.
Right, like Worlds.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean,
Unfortunate.
Yes.
What do you mean who? I mean everybody but you.
Casey going to pick
AC's
Falcon
gone to
Flights?
Falcon Flight over Worlds the
Yeah.
last 2 years.
I think Worlds is going to be sweet this year.
Where is it again?
Virginia at Macbeth's
Oh yeah, the
Foundation.
Tech.
Yeah.
I think it's the weekend before Worlds because Casey, a couple of years ago, he won and then he like hopped on a flight, wasn't it?
Oh.
Or was that to go to Nationals?
You know what it probably is that
No, it was
that
the same.
Monday is the Monday before USDGC. And so if you want to get enough practice in, you can't do Falcons Flight. Is that what it is?
Well, if it's September, it's well before USDGC.
Yeah, you're right. No, it is Worlds.
It must be Worlds then.
You're right.
Worlds is the last weekend in August.
I remember now because the Worlds that James Conrad won, I was standing watching the final round on my phone, like between my house and the garage, waiting for my friend to come so we could drive down to Falcons Flight. And hole 18 and the holy shot happens. And it's like we're already about to be late. And I'm like, oh no, there's going to be a playoff. So I had to drive to Falcons Flight instead and tell everybody not to tell me what happened in the playoff the whole time.
But you saw the holy
service
shot.
On the way in.
Saw the holy shot as we were like, okay, better get in the car. Let's just watch James Conrad not throw this shot in from 230 feet.
Imagine if you had left early.
Yeah.
Imagine.
So got to see the cool part.
Well, we just confirmed that Worlds this year is taking place
1 week.
August 21st to 25th, and Falcons Flight is August 30th to September 1st.
But still.
But
Virginia, Alberta, and then you're going back for
the Great Lakes Open.
Iglo, yeah. So Michigan. So a lot of travel for back-to-back.
You have to do like
And
the
then
Casey special.
and then the
Yeah.
week after that is Nationals. Canadian Nationals.
Yeah.
The year that Casey went to Estonia, he did one of these crazy things. He like drove from Cranbrook, played Falcons Flight, went directly to the Calgary airport, flew to Estonia, did Team Worlds, and then flew directly from Estonia to some other like Ontario for
He's also like
Nationals or
just
something?
crazy with driving too. Like when he came down, what was it, 2022? He played a few months on tour. I can't remember what. No, it was TCO because it was in between.
Was it TCO to DDO or something?
Yeah, I think it was DDO. Drove Kansas City or Emporia to Kamloops, then to Stockton for the OTB. So it's like
Wild, man.
50 hours of driving. Yeah, it just ludicrous. But I think I don't know. I think Thomas flew.
Yeah,
But
Thomas
he's-
flew while Casey drove.
But yeah, Casey will drive for like 20 out of the 24 hours in the day. If it means he'll get there. So crazy. But
Love the commitment, but Jesus, not for me. Holy.
it's, I mean, you're borderline a professional driver more than you are a professional disc golfer on tour.
And at like 6'13" in that little Kia.
Yeah.
Good Lord, your poor body.
Does he have a short guy car?
I mean, it's a little sedan.
Yeah, it's like the size of a Civic.
Oh my goodness.
Good on gas.
I hope so.
So Canadian Nationals, September, what were those dates again, Andre?
18th, 13th, second weekend.
Yeah, September 13th, 14th, 15th.
That's going to be
And
interesting.
we all had some guesses. I thought it was going back to the Maritimes, I think, or Vancouver, one of the two, one of the coasts.
I thought it was going back to the coast, and you thought it was going to be BC Open.
Okay, yeah. And
Funny enough, when it got announced that it was going to BC, I almost immediately got a Facebook message from Stu McKissick saying, "Did you get Nationals?" Because it wasn't us. And I said, "No." And he said, "Oh, must be Kamloops then."
yeah.
And he was almost right.
Yeah, honestly, very impressive. And like playing the Harvest Huck this year or last year, like it makes sense, but I don't know if it makes sense for this year. Like I expect it to be a well-run event. I don't know if the courses are ready. I hope that they, like the ski hill in particular, a lot of potential and a lot of great holes, but also some holes that aren't A-tier quality. The golf course was fun, and I think also can be cranked up a notch, but very nice looking property. It was a little wet when we were there, but it was, yeah. Was it later in the year? Maybe.
No, it was
the same weekend.
pretty much the same weekend.
So,
Yeah.
But I mean, the tournament staff was top notch. They really impressed me with, I mean, it was a B tier last year. They had boasted this huge purse, and it was a big payout. It didn't end up being exactly what they had advertised, but for tournament, the size of that tournament, and Clearwater, BC, like absolute tiny town. Like coming from Invermere, it makes Invermere feel like Cranbrook. Like I want to say it's
boy.
like 300. Like it wouldn't surprise me if the population was like 500 people.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So it's going to double for nationals.
Yeah, but I think that's going to be a cool vibe because I think they had some deal with the hotels there, and I think they'll have the same deal. They had practice baskets set up outside the hotel, and I'm sure a lot of people were staying there, putting whenever.
It's built
I think they
around
had
an
a tent.
RV park, isn't it?
The golf course was,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a bit of a drive. I think it was like 25-minute drive from the ski hill, so that's a bit awkward, but beautiful area. Yeah, hopefully the weather, like it was a bit cold, and it definitely could have been worse when we were there in last year, but I think it'll be really fun. But I mean, for it to be at Hillcrest Farms, Thunder Bay, I mean, I don't know if that has the same clout as, yeah, obviously not Hillcrest, but I think a lot of people would have expected, yeah, Raptors to get it before anything else. But yeah, Clearwater, BC.
I do know. I was looking at the event page, and I think it's Dennis. That's the team.
Dennis.
Gerard.
He was saying that you can expect to see some pretty significant changes at the ski hill.
And it makes sense.
If
And
there's a couple of guys that can do it and get it done, it's Dennis and John, because those guys got their heads on their shoulders, and yeah, like you said, they really know how to run an event. You know, for what it was last year, that was their first big year, I'll say. They ran a tournament the year before that, and it was nothing but positive reviews. So they just kind of worked their way up. I know, like, in chatting with Dennis, you know, he wanted to make it an A tier this year, and then, you know, eventually pursue nationals. But obviously, they've managed to do it all really quickly.
Yeah.
So
big swing.
Actually, you know what? While we're doing it, shout out to GMAC and Nicoletta. I'm sure that ski hill course and the quality of it is mostly due to his hours on chainsaw and weed whip.
For sure. And I mean, you really felt that as well. Like, it is the side of a ski hill, and I can't imagine that's easy land to work with. And like whole design, I think there could have been, some changes, but like quality of, and I mean, they put in brand new tee pads that some of them might have been a little short. I think they even admitted that they should have been, that they thought they were going to be longer, and then whoever put them in, didn't get the memo. But like really well done tee pads, but yeah, brand new. You could really tell that they put a lot of work into it. But
every ski hill should have 18 or 36 holes of disc golf.
And he said they have an infinite amount of space up the ski hill, and like it is a bit of a workout to climb that elevation. And
it's a ski hill.
Some of the holes are straight up or straight down, which
couldn't you charge $10 and like keep one of the chairlifts operating? Like, how much does a chairlift cost in electricity, do you think?
Or a little magic carpet.
And a wagon on the tow rope, maybe?
That's the golden
people
course.
Put tape this to their feet, and they can go up a little T-bar.
Okay, so there's now I got multiple things to talk about. There's a great Instagram clip that I'll try and find and maybe rifle in the comments of this. Our good friend Timon Salzgeber was at Canmore Nordic Center playing in the winter, or like the shoulder season when you could play the full course, and those are cross-country ski tracks, and he definitely stepped on two drivers and tucked and just like ripped one of the fairways on his discs as skis, which is super cool to look at. And the other thing is like the ski hill ski lift access thing. That is the course in Golden at Kicking Horse. It's lift access only. You have to pay $38 to get on the chair to play the course, and it is terribly maintained. And then because you've gone up, you only play across and down. Yeah. And I think you lose the ability to incorporate a lot of design elements when you start at a certain level and have to descend, even just to leave the property.
Yeah,
but
I think
there's like a popular course in the U.S. that's like that too, and they have big tournaments. And
the Solstice something in Colorado.
303 or
no, it's a ski hill. It is Solstice something, and it is at a ski hill in Colorado. I think the clip was just pushed around by the DGPT of the dude throwing 1,500 feet downhill. That's at that tournament.
I thought Revelstoke was similar. I thought they had like a bottom 9 that was like accessible, and then if you wanted to play the top 9, you had to take the chairlift or gondola up. It was only like $5 or $10.
I don't even remember there being a chairlift there.
Yeah,
or like I didn't even notice any way to get up the mountain. And I mean, I think it was closed. I don't think it was open for.
I think they closed it down. They must have closed it down from COVID or something.
Yeah.
You could also charge $10 and carry people up in the snowcat, couldn't you?
Something can be arranged.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking up at the mountain, like they do have, I think, like just past where they've already made a lot of holes, I think there's some really cool, like, because it is kind of a little plateau before it gets steeper. And obviously you kind of have to reel it in at some point. Like you can't just hike all the way up this mountain and just be absolutely exhausted, or embrace it and make it extreme disc golf.
And don't let the MP60s play.
Yeah. I would be surprised if nobody injured themselves on that course. Like, not saying that it's a dangerous piece of property, but just the slope alone, like hole 9 and 18 are both straight down, like 30 meters of like a toboggan, like deglow level elevation change straight down the mountain. And there wasn't really like, okay, take this switchback trail down. It's like a lot of people just beelining and but it's a really cool spot, and I think a lot of people will be pleasantly surprised for the Nationals tournament.
I was a little surprised that they didn't go back-to-back at Thunder Bay. I kind of like the idea of going back-to-back at a place. Like, I really liked going back-to-back in PEI because, like, you don't get to go one year, you get a second chance to go, or you go and you find out you really like the place and you invite a bunch of friends out to it next time. People get coverage, they see coverage, maybe they want to go play it the next time. Like, I kind of like the idea of doing two-year cycles for Nationals, but new places are fun too.
Gives the tournament staff to kind of have the first year to get their bearings and then really tone it or reel it in on the second one. But I definitely think Thunder Bay will get another bid. That's can't remember who's running that.
Oz.
Okay,
Oz, yeah.
And he's a name in Canada, so I'm sure he's.
Well, they always had the knock there before, the Northern Ontario Championships, which was an A tier. And on the same courses.
Okay.
So that's the other thing. I think that you're good to have an A tier in place of Nationals. I'm kind of in support of it moving every year just to get exposure to different parts of the country. But if you've had a successful Nationals tournament, follow it up with an A tier and keep your momentum. You don't have to be Nationals to be a travel-worthy event, right?
That's where Canada is in kind of a tough spot where, like, people make the effort for Nationals. Are they going to make that same effort for just an A tier?
Well, I mean, people in Ontario likely will.
For sure.
For Thunder Bay and obviously Manitoba.
Yeah.
But
you want to see, it's just tough with such a big country. And but
usually you get one of those trips a year, max.
Yeah. And you're typically picking that for the biggest tournament in the country. So,
But, I mean, also good for them. It's being run for the first time by somebody not involved with Can Disc Golf, which is, I think, encouraging to everybody else around the country. So, good for them.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to see some of the guys that put bids in previous years go again. I think that if you can be in Clearwater, it kind of means you can be anywhere within a couple hours of an airport that has a car rental, right?
I think what they, not to say it's all about the money, but the fact that they were able to get that support from a town that small and for just a B tier was pretty impressive, which I'm sure did come into it a little bit, where if they had just had a little C tier, or even if they had that B tier and half of the people showed up and half of the payout was what it was, I don't think it gets the same recognition. And kudos for that entire team, because I think like it really just felt like a big tournament, even though it was just a B tier. Like coming from the up and down the weekend before, not saying that the up and down's not a great tournament as well. That was a lot of fun, but both being a B tier, the Harvest Huck just felt bigger.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, it was featured on Smashbox, so
Yeah, that was the only
Yeah, how
way
did
I
they
saw
get
it.
featured on Smashbox?
It was the payout. They advertised, what was it?
15 grand.
15 grand added cash. I think the total was like, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was like impressive. Like I was doing the math in my head and I expected to see like 4 grand to the winner. And it ended up being, I think, a little less than 3, but somewhere around there. But still, I can't remember if it was like full numbers too for the field, but yeah, I mean, money talks.
Yep. Well, I think they said that the budget for Nationals in Thunder Bay was 140 grand because they had to rent out a 9-hole golf course for a weekend.
And I think that's a shame. Like, it was a great course for it, but it sucks that sucks out because, yeah, not throwing any shade, but that was a very underpaid tournament for being a national A tier. Yeah, it sucks that's what's sucking a lot of the potential payout. But without that course, do you get nationals? Probably not. And it was a lot of fun. So I just have a hard time thinking you can't find some more sponsors for a Canadian Nationals tournament. National Championship in Thunder Bay, where Clearwater, BC can get twice the payout.
140 grand. Like, they found sponsors.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But it was an expensive tournament to run.
I'm not saying Canadian Nationals didn't do their part, but yeah, it's hard when you see such a small tournament bring in such a big purse for a B tier that nobody's heard of, and now they're getting out. Like, when you put that kind of effort into getting the support for the tournament, it kind of puts everybody else under the microscope and say, all right, your turn to do it bigger, or I mean, at least up the standard, because it's like, again, it's money.
Yeah.
Our experience so far, like for the first year of the Canadian Disc Golf Tour, is that Ontario is leaps and bounds ahead of the rest of the country when it comes to finding sponsorship dollars for tournaments. They are so much better organized for the most part, and they know how to find sponsorship money, and they get more of it. And I'm hoping that maybe we can get some more national dialogue going about how they're finding more success doing that kind of stuff.
Again, I think you could factor in that tournament might have been a lot higher percentage not playing MPO or the open divisions where that money's getting spread. But yeah.
I don't think it was a huge MPO field. That was part of the other thing, right?
It's also hard to just remember numbers off the top of your head.
Yeah.
For Harvest Tuck, there was 28 in the MPO division and 7 in the FPO division. Then they had 17 MP40s and 7 MP50s.
Yeah, so total players 208 with a pro purse of over 17 grand.
That's American,
US.
I believe, yeah.
And nationals, I mean, was there 400 or 500 people?
I was the only one that wasn't there.
Yeah, I don't know how you factor in like the amateur divisions or how much of that money is going to player pack, but that's another thing. It's like, if you're getting player packs, surely that's coming out of sponsors.
Absolutely, and for an A tier, I think the minimum is 200% of value payout.
Yeah,
and that means by the time you pay the PDGA and all the other little bits and pieces, you're paying like 350% to get to that 300%.
Yeah, but so yeah, Canadian Nationals 319 players and 12.5 grand US. So basically 5 grand less US for over 100 more players. So I don't know if it's the algorithm that the percentages get mixes or moved around a little bit, and like MPO was 45. at nationals and 28 at Harvest Huck. So yeah,
I think it's just
I
way
don't know if
less
there's
overhead probably. Like there was just
That's kind of what I was going to say.
ludicrous amount of overhead for nationals.
Yeah,
yeah,
I think, yeah, definitely.
Well, and like that's the other thing is how people run the tournaments. Oz might take a cut for himself. He might take $2 a head or something for administrating, because tournament directing is a job,
for sure.
especially for something that big. If you're paying people for course maintenance and things like that, where you're not getting the volunteer turnout that you need, you have to think that the club in Thunder Bay itself is actually probably quite small. So the hands that are there throughout the year to do that work, to prepare for 350 people or whatever it was, just might not be there.
Well, and I think that's where like having the golf course, right? Like, because they like round 1 and 3 were at the golf course, which is maintained by the golf course. So you're gonna pay a greens fee as a tournament for that.
Well, and potential revenue for booking out the day.
Yeah.
Like I think,
And maybe
I think it was only 1 day of practice that we were allowed.
Yeah.
The day before, which again, you can say that that's not enough for a tier or a national event, but again, if it was 2 or 3 days, it would probably suck how much more money out of the prize pool.
totally.
So,
And maybe that's one of those things where Dennis has been able to find a deal with the golf clubs in Clearwater to be able to afford it a little bit.
yeah, and of course it's going to be less money to book that out than in Clearwater than in Thunder Bay. But again, I don't know the numbers for years past for Canadian Nationals either. It's been a while since I played one, so
I'm not sure it's ever been like a really rich tournament for payouts.
yeah.
Generally.
I mean, maybe the Macbeth years or the Sexton years. Did Macbeth ever play it?
Yeah, Macbeth lost to Sexton
yeah,
in the year that Kristen beat Paige.
right.
And that was the first big Kristen beat Paige moment too, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure there was some decent payout for that.
What year is that, Matt? 2019.
That was 2019, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, we should mention they did have a media budget, so
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
but yeah,
You guys made 140 grand. That's so impressive.
Yeah, we were 6 figures of that budget. But
but
you don't think Ben Loggins and Casey Hannemeyer come on to do commentary for free, do you?
and like in the grand scheme of things, I think it's better where Canadian disc golf is right now. I think it is better that they're running better tournaments than paying out a ton of money.
It's a festival. It's a gathering of the juggalos. It's
But it's hard when you start comparing other payouts for other tournaments.
In 2019, the year that Nate Sexton won and Paul Macbeth was there and Simon Lazard, everyone was there. The payout was 16,208, and that was 278 players total. And then in 2022, we had a total of 450 players, and the pro purse was at 24,881.
It's almost 10 grand more.
Yeah, and that's US dollars, just to make sure everyone knows.
And what? 1,500 more for 2019 with Sexton and all them. 16,000 and what was it? 14 and a half for.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and 30 less players. So wherever that money is going, whether it is the course, I'm sure that's a huge part of it.
and it's possible you might have had to fly some of those people out and put them up too.
That too. But
Yeah.
they had a bigger payout than 2023.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not. Yeah. Again, where the quality of the tournament, because like, come to think of it, the Nationals, they had this crazy setup at the university.
Yeah.
For like the welcome thing
The
with your player
Lakehead
packs.
University. Yeah.
And I'm sure Thomas was doing some games or clinic things, or
He was chucking discs over a lake.
yeah. I mean, it looked great, and I'm sure a lot of people really appreciated that part of it.
Well, and not to mention the fact that they rented out a bunch of the dorm rooms,
That
which
too, accommodation.
and it was not expensive for the
Reasonable
players.
prices.
It was a really reasonable pricing, and I'm sure that is because there's a certain amount of money that went towards making it cheaper.
Mhm.
So, I mean, if you're interested in becoming a tournament director, we always need more tournament directors. So if you want to know more about the back end and how this kind of stuff all works, definitely reach out. You can reach out to us. I mean, between all of us, we've Jesse's done a bunch of tournament directing. I've done a little bit.
Between the four of us, you and Jesse have done a lot of
Yes.
tournament directing.
Yes, exactly. But we also have contacts. You know, we know a lot of people that have ran tournaments. So it's a fun thing. If you're into organizing stuff, it's a fun thing to do. So
I can definitely teach you how to make the numbers work for a B or a C through A tier.
Yeah.
And how not to make the numbers work.
And it's socially acceptable to take a couple of dollars ahead now. As
Yeah.
a tournament director, like people are starting to understand, oh, this is a lot of work. These people should maybe get to take some money.
I'm waiting for the day that I pull the trigger on that.
It's funny we're we're kind of planning a little bit for the Rusty Rating series that we're doing again. I got some fun ideas. I got some really fun ideas. So once I lock down a few details, maybe I'll really release my ideas to make it even more playable, we'll say. 'Cause that's the whole
XC
idea.
tier, and Jesse's going to take all of his old paintball guns and markers, sorry. And
Yeah, you just got demonetized. Good job, Kyle.
hole 4, you're getting marked with paintball markers while you're teeing off. Is an
How did you know?
XC tier? You can do whatever you want.
Actually, I just had an idea for like an affordable C tier. You know how like for Ice Bowl, you show up with canned goods and your money? You could totally crowdsource the pricing. You bring one disc that's in good shape and $5 to play to cover the PDJ fees, or you bring a full 25 or 30 or whatever.
This was one of my ideas.
Love it.
Yeah.
And then the other idea is also to just have the tournament cost the absolute minimum it has, and then have your players pack be optional. And that way you don't necessarily need to get a players pack if you don't want one, because like the amount of times that I have so much crap in my closet that I'm just like, I don't know what to do with this. Like I just wanted to play the tournament. And I'm curious if that's something that will ever change in our sport. Are we going to get to a point where players pack is just not a requirement for amateurs to play?
It is a weird spot where, I mean, so many people like expect a sick players pack at some of these tournaments, and it's like, is that really what everybody wants?
Well,
is that really what's best for the tournament?
When you start, yes. Like as a new AM, yes.
Yeah, totally.
Well, that's honestly like a way I sold Raven's Nest the first couple of years, was that I've got an exclusive thing that nobody else has, and people drove to get 2 discs and a shirt, not knowing about the course or anything like that. It's crazy. And you'll see like the comments, people complaining about the players pack. Is that why you came? Because I can tell you to type in acerunners.com and you can buy the same thing with a different stamp and it's at your door in 2 days. Like, why is that expectation there, and why do they value it so highly?
Well, and that's where I think like you could still, I mean, it kind of gets complicated because you need to have everything in order. And I think that's one of the problems that we were running into with Raven's Nest is we had to close our registration so early so that we knew the numbers of discs and the numbers of shirt, the sizes and everything that you needed to get. And I mean, that makes maybe my idea of making this, optional.
There they are.
Thanks
there it is
again,
right there.
Iris Energy. Beautiful Lux. Lux, is that the plastic?
That's Meta.
Meta.
That's the
Meta.
Meta Splice, and it was only available from us and the DGPT shop.
Super overstable. Probably one of the more overstable splice. I mean, overstable splice. Yeah, I think it might be a strange comment, but I mean, one of the more overstable ones that I've thrown before.
Yeah, and then what else do we have? We had Lux Links,
Yep.
Neolinks,
Neolinks.
and you had to go to European Open or us to get that. Everybody signed up,
It's pretty sick.
and then said there's too many trees on hole 2.
There is too many trees on hole 2.
I feel targeted by that.
As long as the T signs aren't in the way from the long tees.
Hole
was that?
one got smoked, I think.
Hole 1. And is it hole 3?
Got
Down the
moved.
canyon.
Like the best hole in the course.
Yeah.
This T sign is literally right in the middle of the gap. And like, sure, it's low, but you are throwing down a hill.
I think
It's
someone pulled
moved.
it out of the ground and
Okay.
moved it before
Yeah.
the tournament. Because
Okay.
you weren't here for the event.
No.
A few of them got
We
moved.
moved all the
But
problem
1 and
ones.
3 were.
The one that got
13
me,
was bad.
the one I just put on the story of 13. Yeah. It was like you throw a top sidearm and the
Right in the
sign is
way.
directly in your hand.
Yeah.
And like you want to get as far to the right of that tee pad as you can for that shot, but
Totally.
he was like,
Also moved.
I think I saw it in that bad position, and the next time I came to the course, someone had pulled it out of the ground and just
Left
laid it
it, yeah.
down.
I think that was us.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? This is something we have to do before the tournament. I'm just going to pull these out right now to remind us. And for those of our listeners and obviously those watching on YouTube that don't know what we're talking about and you're new to the podcast, we're talking about Raven's Nest. And the tournament that we run there is the Rumble at Raven's Nest. So worth checking out. It's one of the better courses in our area, especially. And I love that course.
a physical course.
It's a physical course.
Yeah,
There's a
when
lot
you
of
guys
up
were
and downs.
talking about the hills at the ski hill, I was like, yeah, old people get hurt here too.
Yeah.
Do not bring a cart.
No.
Not worth it.
But it's an adventure.
The year that I played, it was beautiful for the first little bit, and then it started raining like crazy to the point where we had to abandon the round temporarily.
Yeah,
And-
like the PDJ said you had to call the round off.
Yeah, and I was not in the furthest part of the course, but I was pretty far away, and there's just hills everywhere. And somebody was like, "I think it's your camping place is over there." I wanted to go inside for a bit, so I wanted to go back to my cabin, and so I tried climbing up a hill that didn't have a walking path on it,
Yeah.
and then I ended up like slipping a bunch and scraping my knees, and then it got called back again, and I didn't have enough time to go the long circuitous way back around, so I had to go back down the way I came.
No.
But I was like slipping on my butt the whole way, and it was good times.
Sounds amazing.
Too many
That's a
trees
fun
on
thing.
hole 2 though.
To talk about for like tournament directing is that because of the lightning, you're required to call the round off. And then you have to wait for at least an hour before you can postpone further. So we had these 2 little pop-up tents, like 100 people trying to get underneath of it to wait out that hour to see if we could call it again. And sure enough, at like 55 minutes, it had slowed down enough that people could go back out. Nightmare. Found out that the Howie and the old boys, the like 50 plus group, were too tired to walk up from the
Stayed.
bottom, so they stayed at the bottom
Yeah.
under a tree,
For an
probably
hour.
close to where you were having to walk out from.
And we're not talking about a light rain. That was like
It's terrifying.
monsoon.
Yeah, and
Anyways.
actually that brings up another fun one. Talking about your slip, I was playing Lost Egg 2018. Another one. Rain, had to call it off. If you haven't played there, it's a clay hillside with cliffs, super deserty, super hoodoo-y. And I was coming down off the top, same thing as you, slipped because it's wet clay, slid probably 40 feet through a cactus, and I was pulling cactus needle out of my butt for the whole rest of the next round.
It's not dirt. It's like something, what is it, anthracite or something like that? There's a special word for it, and as soon as it gets a drop of moisture, it is like vegetable oil.
Yeah, crazy. More fun.
Hey, that Raven's Nest, nice course. Would you call it a disc golf course, or would you call it more of a disc golf park?
Yeah.
It does. Comments were off camera. I would call it an adventure disc golf course. It's because it has some gimmicks, but it's all meant there to be fun and show you something different and be worth the drive to do something that you haven't done somewhere else.
Unique course.
Yeah. Speaking of unique courses, Matt was trying to
I
get
know I
to
shut him
here.
down.
Our sponsor for today's podcast, as always, Disc Golf Park. It's a unique disc golf course concept developed in Finland in 2005. It is based on the idea of building sports facilities in an environmentally friendly way. Disc Golf Park provides great experiences for all players of all skill levels, from beginners to professionals. Our main ideology is to introduce disc golf to new audiences. There are several options to suit any kind of course, and all official disc golf parks include professional and safe course design, Disc Golf Park Pro targets, tee pads and tee signs, and an info board to welcome players to your course. The Disc Golf Park World concept consists of multiple courses designed for different types of players. Multi-golf is a new fun activity for the whole family. And in multi-golf, 3 forms of golf are played: foot golf, disc golf, and park-style pitch and putt. School Disc Golf Park offers students a new and exciting form of exercise for the physical education class. A course suitable for schools can be designed even in a small area, for instance, a schoolyard. Furthermore, the costs of School Disc Golf Park are lower than those of regular disc golf parks. We also offer private and group lessons or clinics. For more information, check out the website at discgolfpark.com and request a quote today. I just want to highlight the School Disc Golf Park aspect of this advertisement because it's actually interesting. In the last little while, I don't know if it's just, people are bored over the holidays, teachers are off work, but we've had a number of people from schools and whatnot talking about disc golf and how they can get it involved in more in their schools. So School Disc Golf Park is obviously one of the best ways. But I don't know, Jesse, you got any insight on how schools can get more discs and that's kind of stuff?
I don't really know the direct channel, but I will say, and maybe this is the big reveal for me, I re-signed for a second year with Discmania.
Woo, woo,
Rah,
woo,
rah.
woo, woo.
Press the button, man.
I pressed the button.
Okay, good. Wow! What I did is I knew that the program in Golden, physical education program there, incorporated disc golf because the school is right below the disc golf course, and that their discs had gotten too beat up and it was hard for them to keep going. And so I just got on the phone with Discmania and said, "Hi, it's your boy Jesse. I want to get disc golf going in this school again. Do you have any active line discs that I can have for whatever?" And without even like a flinch, they sent me a full class set for Golden, fully paid, shipped, the whole 9 yards. Didn't come out of my personal allotment, didn't come out of any other budget. They just said, "Yeah, we love it. Here's a bunch of discs." Same thing, I've got another class set that they sent me for the middle school here in Invermere, and we're hoping that when the snow melts, we'll get their first ever disc golf program in that school. School Disc Golf Park, I don't know enough about, but I'm assuming that they probably subsidize a bit of the cost of the targets just to, get those programs off the ground. So if you're listening to this, reach out to your local Discmania guy, or maybe try your luck with phone in Colorado, and there's a good chance they'll try and help you out.
There you go. There you have it.
Wow. So that's one Discmania sponsorship locked down by the company. Great choice.
I had a lot of options, and I had to fight off the other guys.
There was another Canadian, pretty famous guy, who was sponsored by Discmania last year. Max, do we have an announcement for this year's sponsorship? This is a big thing. Your sponsor for 2024.
I'm willing to spoil it for our listeners. I also decided to re-sign with Discmania for 2024. And it feels really good to have the same discs, know exactly what I'm like. I've built some of the discs I've had in my bag for 5-6 years. So I think this is going to be my 6th year being sponsored. So a lot of those discs, I know exactly how they're flying and start to rely on them a lot. And there's a lot of exciting things coming from Discmania and a lot of change. So I was definitely happy to stay with Discmania. And I feel like they are kind of pushing a little Canadian interest. Discmania Open is on the tour again next. Oh, is that?
It's not on the American tour, but
or is it? It might be what is it? The qualifier?
An A-tier.
It's just an A-tier, I think.
Anyways, it's a Discmania sponsored event, which they don't sponsor a lot of events.
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially that and European Open. So, that's one thing. But yeah, a lot of the disc golf courses around here are Disc Golf Park as well. So it's good to see their impact on Canada, and hopefully that can kind of grow. A couple guys reached out to me asking if they could get some insider recommendations to Discmania to see if they had what it took to be a Discmania player, so
The same ones that probably reached out to me.
was happy to send his name along. Hopefully that works out.
And it turns out they told me no, Mac, so thanks for nothing. But wait till that coverage from our Hot Sauce Doubles tournament comes out.
Hey,
Yeah.
all over
I can
that.
tell you who's not getting a sponsorship.
What are you talking about? I don't want to spoil it.
I might get a hot sauce sponsorship.
Which reminds me, I should send them my signed contract. I haven't,
there you go.
haven't officially.
Not officially official yet.
Yeah. You just heard a pre-contract announcement here on Northern Flights. That's as
He's
exclusive
literally
as it gets.
signing it as we speak.
Yeah.
You're gonna do like the college football move? Will you tell everybody you're gonna do there, and then
Swap the hat.
Didn't Ali Smith do that with the hats? I saw some very small clip, and I thought I saw like the Innova, the Discraft, and she did like
that's super fun.
that's cool.
I mean, we may as well get into more sponsorship announcements. And while we're on Discmania, friend of the show and also recently on coverage, Kirby Snyder is also sponsored by Discmania.
Right.
And the reason why this one's kind of cool is he actually went up to the combine, the Discmania combine that they had in BC, and he played there. He said he played like crap. And
BC Open, Discmania sponsored.
BC Open was Discmania sponsored as well.
I forgot about that.
He played at the combine there. Did not play well, but obviously did enough to prove that he was worth it. So,
Where did you hear this news, Andre?
some podcast. I always like to listen to podcasts to see if they mention us. So.
We put Kirby Snyder on video 2 rounds, and he goes to Smashbox for his sponsorship announcement. I can't believe it.
He's a Washington guy.
I think so. Yeah,
Seattle, yeah, he runs Emerald City Discs, a awesome retailer in Seattle that, unfortunately, if you're a Canadian listener, they don't ship here. So buy from your local retailer. But if you're ever in Seattle, check out Emerald City Discs and go tell Kirby that we said hi.
Yeah, didn't have the pleasure of meeting Kirby during the BCO. So, but welcome to the team.
There you go. And I mean, we have a couple other BCO related announcements as well. Gabby Lee, who did the commentary, as she often does for Park Pro. She recently announced that she is sponsored by MVP. So congrats to Gabby on that.
You got to think that has something to do with chance and recommendations from that part of the world, and the artist there, Ramanuskas.
From what I saw, she was already throwing quite a bit of MVP. So
Good bit.
yeah. And then the other announcement, also out of Victoria, is that Sophia Donica got a sponsorship. Officially not a free agent anymore. One of the most talented, I'd say, up and coming players.
I did see this, but I can't remember which.
Innova. So congrats to Sophia on that sponsorship as well. I do believe both of them are going to hopefully going to play a few more tournaments down south. I think that's part of their goal for the year. And obviously, they're going to try to make it to more Canadian Disc Golf Tour events. So
Nice.
And Chance, who you mentioned, re-signed with MVP for another year.
there you go.
Congrats, Shane.
Nice. But what I was going to say is also a friend of the show, our girl Christy Shields,
Yes.
signed with Innova as well.
Wow.
Yes.
Hold on. Am I mixing her with somebody else?
You're thinking Christy
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Yes.
Castoplast.
Castoplast staple Christy Lee.
Christy Shields.
Christy Shields is really big on the education side of things. She works at an elementary school, and she's a fantastic ambassador, and that's why they signed her, because she's so good for disc golf on a local level, and just trying to make sure that kids have the ability to play both at at schools in Cranbrook, and I think she's out in Sparwood right now. So really awesome, and congrats, Christy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Canadian Zoe Andike, if I may.
I mean,
100%.
huge deal at the local level. Set up and runs their putting league. Started the Crush tournament, which was the first female-only B tier or above since 2006. I mean, ran women's-only doubles in Cranbrook to try and grow the sport. She travels everywhere. She I don't know how many tournaments she's won. Probably over like 70% win rate, just dominating female disc golf in the Rocky Mountain region.
Yeah, very
Super
well
big
deserved. And then the other one that I saw was both Miguel Alvarado and Brian Fries getting the Cardinal apparel sponsorships.
Yeah, and that must
Those are
be a
some
good
sweet
pickup
jerseys.
because I didn't have a clue who Cardinal Apparel was until those two guys got
Those
there.
are some sleek.
I actually
Really
I
nice.
saw them last year. They're one of the cleanest looking jerseys
Very
out there.
professional.
And I will say that I do believe the designer is like they're one of their owners and main designers. He's Canadian as well. So
Nice.
Sweet.
I like Miguel's jersey a lot.
Just,
I like both of them.
They're both really nice.
I can't
Real
remember
nice.
Brian's off the top of my head.
Brian's is
That's
red and
red.
white, and I like it, but every time I see red and white like that, it's like a Team Canada rah thing. Super clean, but just a bit national red.
Yeah.
Canadian Disc Golf Tour red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are still waiting on a few others. I mean, I don't know if Casey's confirmed where he's going yet. His contract is up, and then also Chantel Budinsky, both currently with Prodigy. I mean, I expect them both to just re-sign. Simple as that. But
I think Kalen also leaked a little. He didn't announce it yet, but he definitely teased an announcement coming soon.
there you go.
And I think he was unsponsored, at least, or Gander maybe.
Yeah, retail
Yeah.
sponsored by Gander last year.
So retail sponsor, but I would imagine somebody, one of those manufacturers, looked at his Canadian Nationals performance and said, "This guy's got some game."
Well, it's too late to put the logo on coverage now, but you know what? We'll mention it on the podcast.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have any. Like I know Joe, is it Vanderveen?
Yep.
He's a Discmania guy, and I know that they're somewhat close.
Joe, as
Or
far
is
as
it
I know,
nothing?
is no
Sure.
longer with Discmania.
Maybe
As
they're a
well
package
as
deal.
one other.
Are they that close?
Jake Voskamp, I think, is who
Okay,
you're thinking
that's
of.
another-
He's the other
the-
young
the
guy.
other
They're
JV.
good friends, yeah.
So yeah, I'm
It
sure
was-
they'll.
There were some fascinating interactions with Joe and his caddy that we didn't put on coverage. There was some Joe caddy stuff that we did put on coverage, but there was some fun stuff in one of those nationals rounds. Maybe we shouldn't spoil that Joe Vanderveen was on coverage, but he might have made coverage one of the rounds. And yeah,
Maybe Kalen did too, apparently.
I heard that.
yeah. I don't know if they're great friends.
Yeah, I think I was thinking about the other JV,
Yeah.
and
I mean, anyone from Ontario, I just assume they're
they're
friends.
friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, speaking of Ontario and sponsorships, Innova announced like 4 other guys that got the tap this year, and I've never heard any of their names before. So I'm wondering if they're, like me and Christy types, local level growers, or if there's some more competitive guys I haven't heard of yet.
Well, if you're a manufacturer and you want us to talk about your players, let us know.
Yeah.
If you're a player and you want to talk about your new sponsorship, let us know. If you have a friend that wants to talk about their sponsorship, let them know to let us know.
And if you'd like to sponsor Park Pro, let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah, still a lot of people on the table. A lot of spots to be filled, and a lot of like pretty big spots. Like I'm so curious to see where Nicholas Huntle is going, because I did not see that coming at all. I thought he was so synonymous with Discmania.
He thanked them for the partnership.
And yeah, so Jesse has noticed,
Dude,
that,
tinfoil hat kind of.
and I reread it, and I just don't think you make that kind of post just to say that you're getting promoted to the Sky Team, which he would definitely deserve. And I don't know if he was even on there before. Was he not?
No, because he would have got a Creator Series disc, right?
True.
And he just had the regular
But I mean,
Team Series.
he would definitely be due for that kind of a contract.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think it would
Kyle
be like a
Klein did something similar, didn't he? When he got promoted to the
That's the thing. Like, it's a small percentage chance of happening, but if you really want to get into the conspiracy of it, there's a chance that he's using this as some bait to make his announcement of promotion more exciting and get more views.
Thank you, Discmania, for seasons 2018 to 2023. Heart shield emoji. I am so grateful to Discmania for their willingness to help me go after my dreams. However, after 3 Finnish championship titles, a European champion title, and numerous memories, it's time to turn a new page in my career.
I think that's a tease that he's going to do a full U.S. tour instead of in Europe, right? If you want to do the tinfoil hat thing, because he's saying European champion, Finnish champion, I'm going to step across the pond and really blow this wide
Sign with
open.
Discraft.
About some real tinfoil stuff. Turning a new page. Where does Paige Shoe
Pierce.
and Paige Pierce?
Wow.
Discraft.
I off the top of my head, I just thought Discraft. I know he's pretty close with Paul Macbeth. Paul Macbeth did his whole Europe tour there. He's one of the hottest commodities in Europe. And Discraft has just recently signed a Finnish guy. Can't remember if it was Luukkonen or Ronkanen or one of them.
No.
I think it was Elias Luukkonen. I think he was on Discmania before. Big bucket hat guy. Anyways. And a Estonian girl. I think she won Estonian championships, but I can't remember her name. But yeah, and they've had a very small stake in European players for a long time. Bring in KJ Naito.
I would say the
last
KJ
year.
Naito thing might be the guy that's the scout in Europe
Honestly.
to really be the person that gives them the information, because it's really hard as a North American to have a really solid grasp of what moves plastic and who is actually admired and blah, blah, blah.
But Nicholas Antala, probably number one European name behind Kristen Tatar, at least for sealing what he's accomplished. Has almost won 2 majors. Was he close to another major?
Bro, I thought we were both on team Lauri Lehtinen. Come on. Don't leave me hanging here. Lauri Lehtinen is the most talented European player in the world.
He just hasn't proved it. He had an injury to his finger and did his obligatory military service last year. I definitely think he has a very high ceiling as well. But Nicholas has just proved it and has won almost everything you can in Europe.
I'm going to say Lauri Lehtinen wins a major before Nicholas or Vino.
Wow.
But here's the thing about the value of the players. Isn't Vino Makala like the most popular dude ever for like the YouTube?
Yeah,
and,
but Nicholas and Hyttinen, which crazy. But and then Seppo, I don't know where Seppo was on it. But yeah, Vino was definitely the highest on that list of like top 10 just social media following of Finnish people total. So actors, like, yeah, I think Lauri Markkanen, NBA player, was on there. I'm sure some other, F1 drivers, sure Valtteri Bottas or whoever, Kimi Räikkönen. But Vino Makala is on that top 10 list. So it's like, how does a disc golfer have that big of a following in a country like Finland? So, I mean, those guys are rock stars.
Because the Finns don't care about putting. That's why.
Nicholas can putt.
Nicholas can putt.
But,
Of those guys, he's maybe the best.
I mean, interesting.
I have a theory, and I know that the common idea is that, having Nicholas go to Latitude 64 is that it's a lateral move, but I don't have any insight into how House of Disc runs, but in my mind, they're still like, they own the companies and they might have a little bit of say, but you still have like they're still separate companies. Yeah. So I see the world where he still goes to Latitude 64, not as a lateral move, but as Latitude saying, yeah, we want that guy.
Yeah.
My impression, and maybe you guys know more than I do, but I feel like Latitude is their professional European team. Discmania is going to be the young up-and-comers, like the fun young people to get people on board with that brand sort of team. And I think Nicholas is not necessarily in that demographic anymore. Like he's a legit, serious contender, and it would sort of make sense if that's their branding approach to their different brands.
And West Side's their wild cards.
West Side's their weird people side.
I definitely, like Dynamic has kind of been their North American team where, a lot of the U.S. guys were dropped from Latitude. I'm not sure if a lot of them actually went to Dynamic.
I don't think very many of them have signed with Dynamic at all.
I think since Ricky, there hasn't been a North American player on Latitude.
No.
Yeah, fair. I mean, yeah, Tristan Tanner, but
His 2 performances a year where he shoots lights out and then everybody forgets he exists, unfortunately.
And Johnny
really-
McRae, because I think they just forget that they're still paying him.
Johnny the gangster, never mind. He's the man. But yeah, I really think they need to balance that team out. I think they need 2 guys from the U.S., and I think that you need to get a couple guys on the DD logo that are European as well.
yeah, I mean, it depends on what they're trying to achieve. Because if that is their kind of thing, where the Europeans are on latitude, the Americans are on dynamic, because the dynamic warehouse is in the U.S. and yeah, vice versa. But I've also, some people have said that the House of Discs isn't like, they don't want, they're not just shuffling people around for that. Like, that's not their goal. So like, they wouldn't just move players just because it would make
Some
more sense.
discs.
I mean, yeah, you would think that would be smart, but again, it's like Discmania, I think, is just as Finnish as like, they have such a huge European or like just specifically Finnish backing presence, the European Open. Like, I don't think Nicholas moving to latitude is pushing more plastic within that ecosystem.
Yeah, the Nordic Phenom is a fantastic disc, and I would buy another one next year.
Yeah, just surprising.
Well, I should not say this, as most things I say, but I will. We had a call with the Discmania team guys, and what we were told is that after House of Disc acquisition, it would be business as usual at Discmania. They wouldn't have a restructuring. They wouldn't have, a different warehousing. It was just a continuation for now with different upper management.
Well, it also could just be opening cap space for giving Gannon Burr a big bag.
As a guy that has
wondering
been
about
through multiple mergers and acquisitions, Jesse, I can tell you that is what they say every single time, and it's never, ever true. But that is absolutely what is always said. One time, the company I was working for got bought by some, global behemoth, and the vice president of the Canadian entity came to our boardroom and sat down. He's like, as long as I'm here, you guys will be run exactly the same. It's going to be the same people making decisions. And then he retired 6 months later. So, I mean, he didn't lie. It did stay the same for 6 months, but that's what they say. It's a hedge fund that runs it. And if they can think of a way to make more money and become more profitable, either to make more money or to sell it for more money, that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, and I mean, Nicholas Antela just bought a BMW, so I'm sure he's got
That's a bad decision.
a good
He got a
contract.
bag.
Got a good contract coming his way. So, congrats to whoever lands it.
I thought you guys were putting the thumbs up emoji. Sorry for the audio listeners only. There keeps on the video feed. There keeps being like thumbs up emojis, but I think it's automatically every time somebody like puts their thumb up on the video on your guys' side. Is it not doing it?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
No,
what you're
it's
talking
not on our side.
You guys don't see the thumbs up?
Nope.
That's not happening now. It just there's a thumbs up that pops up. Well, you can watch it later.
But I guess we can talk about the Gannon thing because we've kind of beat this up. It's got to be the Gannon gang going to join Babcock on
Yeah,
Discmania.
100%.
Alden, Gannon. Obviously, Isaac is staying with Isaac and Ezra
For now.
Prodigy.
Because he's got a year left on his contract that is
year.
he doesn't want to get sued.
And I admittedly don't watch their YouTube stuff all that much. So like, I don't know if Isaac and Ezra are a big part of that crew.
I've never watched one.
But yeah, apparently Alden's doing really good with his YouTube. Everybody seems to eat that up and love it. So, I mean, if that's what brings him and Gannon to Discmania, then good on him.
And then the eagle in the room. I mean, elephant in the
Eagle
room.
leaving. I was going to say, we talked about it a little bit about the image of Discmania, the young, exciting, whatever players. And Eagle's not a 19-year-old guy doing crazy stuff anymore. He's a guy that plays half a season because he's perpetually injured and age is catching up with them. And it might just be a refresh that they liked that young energy that they had before, and they're trying to revitalize it. So Eagle's value to Discmania might not have been what it was when he was 21.
And I mean, yeah, if you are getting Gannon, that is kind of a like for like trade, maybe even more upside.
I was gonna
just
say.
because he's so young. But it's just crazy that Discmania has gone from the Crush Boys and now, and like even Nicholas, like such a crazy change of scenery where like Gannon, Alden, and Babcock are there. And then, yeah, whoever they fill up the rest with. But yeah, just like the pillars of Discmania, all gone. So interesting years to come for the company, if they weren't already. There's been a lot of good and bad drama surrounding the company, but exciting nonetheless. But yeah,
And then
not that Gannon has announced it, but I feel like that's kind of a given at this point.
Yeah.
With the whole Prodigy lawsuit and
The only other one is possibly the Latitude, and that's only depending on their strategy. Like we said, if they do want to keep a couple Americans, maybe Latitude, but
there's just been too much talk about Gannon to Discmania to ignore it.
Totally.
Even though he's trolling everybody with throwing everybody off or trying to throw everybody
And
off.
he just seems like a Discmania player. You know, he's got that.
He's tall and
feel.
lanky.
it's funny because I don't feel him as a traditional Discmania guy. He's a little goofier and
But
Yeah, but Simon Lizotte
I wouldn't put him as goofy. He's like
Simon
show-offy and
as goofy.
cocky.
Simon's
He's pretty goofy.
He's not like making memes and trolling people.
But if he
He's
was
like-
18
he's like
now,
goofy for us, like our age.
Yeah, for 30-year-olds.
Yes, exactly.
like
Gannon
he plays
is
pool
goofy
sometimes.
to 18, 19-year-olds.
I have seen him a lot with Silas Schultz. I saw him playing around with Kyle Klein and Cynthia. So
And isn't the guy that was on his bag all the
Yeah.
time? He's Discmania as well.
yeah,
Matt Suckenbesh or something like that. He owns Titan Disc Golf in Iowa.
It's the guy that
The
looks
crazy
like,
eyes.
It's the guy that
There's
looks
too
like
many connections.
the kid from Spider-Man's partner guy.
I don't watch superhero movies, but he's recognizable everywhere.
anyways. Gannon to Discmania.
Canon to Discmania.
But Eagle,
Eagle, like we think it's MVP.
Eagle.
But before we jump off Gannon, I have another thing to bring up. From all the lawsuit and everything that we know about Gannon, we know he wasn't actually getting paid very well by Prodigy. Discmania loses Eagle, which has to be a big salary, and has capital to pay for someone like Gannon. He only opened up like 70 grand worth of cap space at Prodigy by losing Gannon. So there is no space to fill in without increasing that budget.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big kick to Prodigy.
I don't know what Prodigy's vision is. I think they've been spiraling for a few years.
Absolutely. I think that World's Win is
And like maybe if Kevin, like, don't want to shit on Kevin Jones, but everybody had a lot of stock in Kevin Jones. I can't remember what year it was, but he was a very hot stock on the market.
He was the best player at Pro Discus.
And I mean, like, he's done a lot on and off the course as well. Like, I think he's one of the coolest people on tour to hang out with. And I mean, the whole DJing thing, like, he's doing DJ sets at Pro Tour events, like, before the event. So it's like he does a lot more than just play disc golf. But I feel like Prodigy might have been on a different trajectory if he played at a higher caliber.
I think in that time he got the bag that Prodigy had to give, and I think like you said, it didn't play out the way that they wanted it to. They wanted him to be a top 5 guy all the time, and I think it's also one of the things that contributed to them losing Chris Dickerson.
Yeah, because I mean, KJ's got his own line of discs, or I mean, I don't know about a line, but has
I'd
his,
call it a
The
line.
distortion
Yeah.
They don't call it reverb for the DJ guy if it's not his disc.
all right.
Yeah, it's his
Yeah,
disc.
so he has his own
Yeah.
discs, and so I'm sure he's well taken care of by Prodigy. Is there a performance to worth differential?
I think
Potentially.
maybe he's doing just something different than what he expected. Like you said with the DJ set, he's still there. His face is in front of everybody. He's talking.
Yeah,
People are checking the
skins.
social
I
media.
guarantee he sells this though.
Big time with the skins match thing.
Mhm.
Like he's always like good
And
friends
he's
with
making
them.
clips because he's high energy. He's
Yeah.
exciting. He's
Mhm.
doing all the stuff.
So
Yeah,
But that brings up another
He's still
thing,
one of the
Chris
most likable guys, right? Like
Yeah.
that's value as much in a lot of ways as high level performance.
Yeah. You just got to like somebody enough to buy their stuff.
Yeah.
But like what I was going to say, the Chris Dickerson thing, he moves on to Discraft at a time when Discraft is starting to dominate. And I think he gets less attention than he did at Prodigy. He's completely overshadowed by the Macbeths and people of the world. Do you see Chris Dickerson moving on to somewhere where he can be the guy again? Or do you think he's moved past that in his life?
I don't know.
I think he's just like
He's a very
past-
unique.
He's like he just wants to play his.
Yeah, I
tournament.
don't think he cares
Do his
about any of
thing.
that stuff.
No.
Yeah.
And like I've heard him on I think interviews talk about him having like pretty severe anxiety with like I mean even just playing a tournament is a big thing for him. So maybe it is just he's very okay with blending in or
And you know what
That
makes
explains
me,
that
you know,
camouflage.
you know what?
we're on to you, Chris Dickerson.
You know what that makes me think of though is that'd be a really good fit for Innova, because that seems to be the type of people that Innova is going after at that higher caliber. Like they're not looking for people who are in the limelight on social media, don't have that vibrant personality, we'll say.
Sure.
I think it's just, and I mean the whole reason I kind of bring that up is I'm curious if maybe that sort of Innova's strategy isn't to get splashy players, it's to get people that win, and it's to get their discs in everybody's hands, and like no matter, and I mean I'm talking like sports stores. You look at Prodigy, they had signed the NHL deal.
Yeah.
Sure, NBA and stuff is next. Like their strategy isn't necessarily on getting the players anymore. I think it's on just trying to get discs in other people's hands in other avenues. And I think having Isaac on that team, as talented as he is for last year and then for this coming year, I think that alone is also going to put discs. I mean, Prodigy is one of those. It's a loyalty brand in my mind. Like I know so many people that are just like so all about Prodigy.
Well, they bought brand loyalty with the street team. It is a strategy that if you make someone feel special for buying something, they're going to buy more, right?
And
You
I mean,
got to wear the shirt.
Big presence in Europe as well. I think they're like one of the biggest, like big three in Europe. So they do maybe have a bit of a unique strategy with their company, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt to have a world champion throw your discs. So
Yeah. Okay. Off topic here. If MVP came out with their own street team, what would you call it?
MVP street team, like what's
It's a lab techs.
Least valuable players.
Good one.
Participants.
Oh God.
What would you call them, Andre?
That was participants. Was my
Okay,
guess.
participant. Yeah, I like that.
Or I mean, they're doing this like space race stuff, so maybe like space cowboys. I don't know.
Space cadets. Yeah.
Yeah, the cadet team.
Hmm.
Oh, that's going to be some like Prodigy military group already or something, though.
I don't know.
DD for sure. That would be a DD thing.
I think they have a disc called the Cadet.
Awesome. Well, we got any other? I mean, we didn't even touch on FPO, so maybe we'll wait till next episode to touch on
Yeah.
FPO.
Also, somebody
There's a lot
has to go
going
play
on
some
there.
basketball, and it's not
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And it's not me either. Just I know you
Guilty
guys
as
are all
charged.
thinking it, but
I'm going to play basketball.
I've watched Max play basketball. That guy, like he's got hops.
Bird bones. Man
Yeah.
floats.
I jump.
I wish I could jump. I think I got like a 6-inch vert now. Yeah, and I got to pull my knees up to do
That's
it.
2 inches more than high school. We're friends, Jesse. We're friends. I'm glad we're friends.
I'm glad I brought you that drink so you can choke on it.
Great drink, by the way.
Actually, pretty good.
Sapsucker organic sparkling tree water. Tapped
Yeah.
in Canada.
Andre and I used to do like the beer of the day thing we're trying to be a little healthier. But this is maple water. It's tapped, and I'm assuming in the same process as they collect it for making syrup. This is the water that comes off the top. They put a little flavor in it, and it's quite refreshing.
From Flesherton, Ontario.
That's a gross name for a town.
Yeah.
Very refreshing, though.
Yes.
So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Stay hydrated.
All right, guys, don't forget to check out Nationals. It's out this weekend. You know, mark your calendars, mark your clocks, set your alarms,
Do all the things.
subscribe to the channel. Don't miss out.
We never ask anybody to hit the notification bell, and I still don't recommend it. Why would you get notifications for Disc Golf channel on your phone? That'd be silly.
But
If you do,
this is the one to do it on. You could take it off after,
yeah.
but like do it for this weekend.
You want to be the first one to watch it. You want to comment the word first on the video because that's super cool.
Yeah. All right.
Amazing.
Don't
Keep a
forget to
straight
go-
face thinks first is super cool stuff there.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. And
Tell one friend.
Yeah, tell a friend. If you're interested in becoming a patron, head over to patreon.com/parkbro. For as little as $1.50 a month, you can help support us. And we can put out podcasts, more content, and support the Canadian Disc Golf Tour as well. So, and thanks to Disc Golf Park once again for sponsoring this episode.
Yeah.
Matt?
Well, from all of us here at the Smash Box, don't forget to keep smashing boxes. And Smashbox is the best, and I love Smashbox. And you better buy a new sweater for next week, Jesse. You're fired.
Shout out Terry Miller.
Bye.
Bye.